So welcome to Ponder and Dream. And before we get started, I'd like to remind you that what you think becomes action, causing reaction. Today I'd like to introduce you to another dynamic individual, Cruzan, and you will be amazed of what she's accomplished and what she's doing now. Today we're going to focus on her journey of writing, which I think began as a child.
It did, actually.
Yes. Just to start with, Catherine, tell us about your brand new project.
My novel released, Elfkind, just a couple months ago, and so I'm neck deep in promoting that and marketing it, as well as working on the manuscript for the follow-up book.
So that's what I was curious. So great. So now is this going to be a trilogy, or is it going to just be a world that's going to open it up to as many volumes as possible?
I don't know about as many volumes as possible, but as many volumes as the world dictates.
Okay, great.
The stories sort of decide, I need to be told. So
very good.
I've got 4 mapped out right now.
Well, this is great. Let's go back in time, magically.
Okay.
And I'd like to, when were you aware that you were interested in writing, or that you had a story to tell?
I don't know that I was thinking in terms of having a story to tell. Okay. I was just doodling, scribbling, sketching, drawing, and telling stories on the page since I was young. I couldn't even tell you when it started. I just remember always doing it.
Wow. And not stopping. You didn't stop writing?
No, I never stopped. I mean, I certainly had, periods where I was maybe doing less creating in terms of writing and more creating in other areas, because I've always got a creative outlet, or 6 or 7 going at once. But they kind of ebb and flow a little bit.
I know that you were involved with music for quite a while now.
Yes.
Were you involved with music first, or the storytelling pleasures at first?
All of that sort of happened right alongside each other. I mean, I sang in the church choir from, when I was very young. So I sang for many, many years, played the flute for 10 years. Probably would have kept that going if I had a better outlet college-wise, but then I turned my attention to, my career at that time, and creativity sort of fell off as I pursued the engineering. But during all that time when I was studying the flute and just studying music in general, reading music, even attending mentorships for the Minneapolis Orchestra and such, I was always also, scribbling, doodling, writing on the side. Again, I think I went a little astray from the arts, when I started focusing on engineering. I flipped the switch in my brain a little bit, and I'm just coming back to it now.
Yeah. Oh, well, now this is very interesting, because I often too wonder that when we get to the point where we need to create a career, sometimes, regardless of our innate abilities or talents, sometimes we decide in the world that we're in, the environment, and how am I going to make a living? So then you do change. Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about how you got involved with engineering?
My father was an engineer.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, that was a very circuitous route as well, because my first interest was in medicine, and I got accepted to UCLA pre-med, but that was also I think within a month or two of when my father passed away. I was, a teenager, and so it kind of threw a wrench in my plans there a little bit. So I had to fend for myself and, get situated with a job that would help me stay where I was. I was living with a friend and her family, and they graciously let me stay on after my father passed, instead of, kicking me back home to my mother. And that allowed me to at least just, come to a decision what I wanted to do. And then I started working for an attorney. I thought, maybe I'll do law. I thought law was really interesting. Worked for a workers' comp attorney, and kind of got soured on the process a little bit. And so I thought, well, Dad's an engineer. This could be interesting. I'm really good at math. Let's give it a try. Yeah. And I loved it. And law is still to this day continues to be my backup career, right? Because practicing attorneys that have engineering experience can do really great things in patent law and that sort of thing. So it's always there in my back pocket. If I can't do this engineering thing any longer, maybe I'll do that.
Well, I just think it's always interesting when I meet someone who has such musical ability or some other artistic talent that they are in these jobs that are really mathematical, and it just fascinates me. And you're definitely one of them.
True. Well, yeah. I mean, there's something about math that a lot of people maybe don't understand, that it kind of taps into the creative side a little bit, I think. I mean, there's always that discussion of left brain, right brain, and the math comes from one side and the music comes from the other side. But when I am creating a finite element model for a spacecraft or something, there's a very creative aspect to that. And it's a lot of people coming from the aerospace industry will even cross over and do the digital graphics for movies and things like that, because it's certainly more creative than mechanical hardware, but it's the same exact software, it's the same idea. It's sort of it's a sort of art. There's an art to doing that in the job, which I love.
I'm so glad that you brought that up, because I used to think my mother was nuts when she would come back. She goes, "Oh, industries are works of art." And I drive by with her in the car on the freeway, and I'd see smokestacks and a lot of metal wiring and weird shapes, and I thought, but I was a little girl.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's pretty fascinating.
There's something beautiful in that. Yeah, I did a lot of black and white photography when I was in college of some of the industrial stuff. I have some great, smokestacks, and I have like an ironworks where I did some really great prints that won me a couple of competitions. So I agree with Mom.
Yeah, Mom was right on.
She was. What you think becomes action, causing reaction.